Hi, I am William S. Jagetz, founder and principal with Family Financial Management Practice. We are a wealth management firm focused in areas of tax planning and estate planning. Here on the YouTube channel, we talk about art collecting and legacy planning. Today, I have a guest. We're going to talk about how to protect your collection and make sure, one, how to make sure bad things don't happen, and two, how to make sure that your policies are going to protect you and remunerate you properly if something bad does happen.
Hi, I'm Crystal Oliver Hines. I am the president and co-founder of Marvel Agency. We specialize in all lines of insurance, but specifically today we're going to be talking about how to insure your fine art.
I promise you, when we get done, you're gonna want to go check your coverage. So when I'm talking to clients, the first thing that happens is always they say, "Oh, my homeowner's insurance covers that." So I want to go right there first because that's the first thing everybody thinks they're already covered. What are the one? Is that correct? And if it's not correct, what are the dangers of having your art collection or other fine art collectibles covered only as part of your homeowner's collection?
Okay, great. Well, one, it is true. There is a rider in all homeowners policies that will cover your fine art. But it's up to a specific limit, and most people don't know what that limit is. So it's not a limitless amount of coverage for the art that you bring in. So typically they go up to about 25,000. So you want to be careful with that. Check your policy to see. The other more important thing to know is that it's limited coverage based on what the homeowner's policy will do itself. So if you have a comprehensive policy that's going to cover fine art, you're going to be covered for accidental breakage, you're going to be covered for theft, you're going to be covered for, more importantly, flood, which is always excluded from a homeowner's policy. So if you have a flood and you're relying on that to cover your art, well, you will not be covered. So the only thing that will cover your art in a flood will be a separate flood policy or a comprehensive art owner's policy.
Let me tell you, I had this experience. I was traveling, and at home, there was literally water spraying out of the walls from a burst pipe for like days before one of my nosy neighbors noticed it. Called the water department, who shut the water off from the street outside. So I come home to no water and just like frozen water all over the dining room, and lots of damaged art. And yeah, that's painful.
Yeah.
You know, and are you covered for that? The $25,000. Is that per item or is that aggregate?
It is the policy limit, so it's a $25,000 cap. It's unscheduled, so if you have 5 pieces, then realistically we're saying $5,000 per piece if you want to look at it that way, but it's a blanket coverage and it's limited to $25,000.
Yeah, so you and I are both laughing because we know $25,000 is not covering your art. Let's talk about the kinds of things that, so you say comprehensive, so that means it covers a lot of different things.
Right. So we discussed the accidental breakage, if something were to fall off the wall because it wasn't installed properly, if there's theft, if there's natural disaster other than a flood, maybe a hurricane or something like that. Earthquake. If it's in transit, that's a really big one, because if you're loaning your art out or it's being exhibited someplace and something happens along the way, your homeowner's policy will not cover that, but a comprehensive art policy.
I'm in the habit of making sure that whoever's borrowing is, covering all that in their shipping. But I gotta tell you, it's usually something close to a gentleman's agreement. So I've never actually looked at anybody's policy. I'll tell them, you gotta make sure this is insured. If something happens between here and there, you gotta cover it. And they'll say, yeah, we gotta cover it. And We're all art people, right? Art people don't
We
lie.
have it covered. We have it covered. And you know, the best intention is that they probably do consider that they have it covered. But for you, for your own peace of mind, just knowing that the policy is following the pieces where they go. It's just that extra layer.
Let's talk about if I'm moving something from, say, my primary residence to the winter residence. Do I need to get like a rider for that, or is that covered?
That's all going to be covered under the policy. So we're talking about transit. We're talking about it being moved from one place to another. So as long as it's wherever the art is, whether it's stationary or whether it's traveling from one residence to another, one residence to an exhibition, or to another friend's residence just for showing or alone, it's going to be covered under that policy.
Okay, good. So that's good to know. So let's say I have a comprehensive policy. It covers everything in my collection in multiple locations.
Okay.
When I purchase something, at what point do I call you and add that to the policy? When it gets home on the wall, as soon as I purchase it?
As soon as you purchase it, because that purchase has to travel from where it's at to your home. So you want it covered immediately.
Right.
You always want to let me know because, you know, when the piece costs over a certain amount of money, and I believe that figure is about $10,000, it becomes a scheduled piece. So the carrier needs to look at each piece specifically over a certain amount of money. So you're going to give me a call and say, I'm purchasing the piece. It's $12,000. Please add it to my policy. I'll ask you if you have a current appraisal. You tell me that you do, and then we'll go forward and add it so that that piece is covered. Now it has to be covered. It will be covered for the de-installation and then the reinstallation into your home.
So I'm not relying on the FedEx.
You're not relying on FedEx.
Because that limit is like $50.
And it's scary.
And of course we're kidding, you don't want to ship art with FedEx. If it doesn't fit in the back of your SUV, you need to call an art handler and have it shipped professionally. That's a future episode. Let's talk about the appraisal, because that's important. I need to have that appraised like right at the front door.
Absolutely.
Right? Because,
Absolutely.
you know, like when I buy something, that's what it's worth.
Absolutely.
You know, and I'll do some background. I'll go on artsy.net or, you know, something like that and see, all right, what's this artist selling for? What's comparable? And, you know, I make whatever deal I make and then I purchase it. Not thinking about its value at that moment. You know, like, you know, annually you get appraisal or whatever. When you insure, you get an appraisal if you ever sell anything. When you're doing your estate planning, you get your appraisals then. But you're saying I should, when I call you and tell you I just bought a piece, what I paid for it doesn't count as an appraisal?
No, it does not.
Okay.
No, it does not.
So tell me, who's appraising? How often should I get these appraisals done? And when I purchase a piece, are you sending, is the insurance carrier sending an appraiser to tell me what that thing is worth? Or?
So no, you want to have an independent appraisal done on your piece. This is something that you own, and you want a third party, uninterested party to let you know what the value of that is. I mean, because of course, in all, you know, ways of thinking, the insurance company is going to sway that in their favor.
Yeah, everything is worth $80.
Exactly, especially in the event of a loss.
Yeah.
So you want to have a certified appraiser look at the art and actually give you a current appraisal, and then you keep that on hand always. And you want to have those updated on an annual basis, because anything can happen. You know, as the value goes up, you want that to be reflected for the coverage that you have. You want to be treated fairly in the event of a loss. Some of the organizations that will give an appraisal that you should reach out to are going to be the International Society of Appraisers. You want to go there, and then there's the American Society of Appraisers. So you want to go there where they are actually looking at art. They're actually well versed in it. They know what they're looking at, and they can give you a fair and accurate appraisal.
Right, and they're recognized by the insurers, so it's not a
Absolutely
challenge. I'm not arguing with the.
You're not arguing with the claims representative.
The claims rep.
About
Crystal said this thing was worth $50,000.
Your uncle said, the uncle says that this is worth a whole lot.
Right. Well, I read an article online that said this was worth a lot. So recognize appraisers. I'm gonna tell you, appraisals are not inexpensive, so annually is a good guideline, but in real life, most of us are probably not having the entire collection appraised annually. Let's talk about like the retroactive. So I have a piece, I had it appraised 4 years ago, and then something bad happened. What are we doing about the appraisal then?
Well, we're still gonna use that appraisal. If it's the most recent, that's the one that you have. But another way to protect yourself in those kinds of instances is to make sure that you have inflation coverage on all of your pieces. So inflation coverage is going to increase the amount of coverage incrementally on an annual basis as the policy renews to keep up with inflation and also to keep up with the market. So that way, even if you haven't had an appraisal done in 4 years, you're still moving up incrementally in value if something bad were to happen to the piece.
Okay, now is that an additional cost, Ryder?
It's an additional thing to purchase in the policy, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not.
It's cheaper than having appraisals done every year.
It's cheaper than having appraisals done every year, and it's cheaper than getting, 70% of what your work is actually worth.
If you have, I don't know, 80 pieces in your collection, 100 pieces, and you have relationships with curators, galleries, etc., and they're asking you for pieces, there's probably like 4 that are going out more often than the rest, right? I mean, the whole thing is good, but there's 4 that are the most popular, that are going, they're seeing the most rotations. Of those pieces, you absolutely want that current.
You want to keep up with those.
Right, because you're rich, just based because they're moving around, the risk is higher.
That's right.
So you want to keep up with those.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. When you get your appraisals done, you want to keep those on hand, all your insurance documents and your current appraisals. You can keep those with Artwork Archive, and they're our affiliate partner. I love them. I can't imagine how they can be as inexpensive as they are, but track and archive your entire collection. Digitally store all of your documents. Everything is there. Have your entire collection at a single link with, the things you want visible can be visible, and the things you don't want seen don't have to be seen. If you have a gallery, if you're a dealer, you can link it right to your commerce site. So you list what's for sale, what's not for sale, things that go out on loan. You can know exactly where everything is all the time. So yeah, the link for Artwork Archive will be in the description notes, and an incredible tool for collectors, artists, galleries, dealers. Definitely give them some attention. So when I'm sending something out on loan, what do I need to do? So we just talk about what I need to have. Gotta have an appraisal, want to make sure it's included on my policy. What things, as far as steps, do I need to take? What things do I need to do to make sure that I'm able to sleep at night while that thing is out in the world?
Well, you want to first make sure that your insurance policy does cover it. Make sure that your insurance policy knows where the piece is going. That's a very important part of the pieces in transit. If you're going to be scheduling them at an exhibit, then the carrier needs to know where it's going to be and for how long it's going to be there. Another important piece to that is the loan agreement itself. You have to have a loan agreement. If something needs to happen while it's out on agreement, loan in an exhibition, the insurance carrier is going to want to see what the terms of that agreement were, and you need to have that in order to safeguard you on the piece.
Okay, so in best case scenario, I am contacting the carrier or my agent at your office, and letting them know we're having that conversation ahead of time.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Let's talk about real life, because, we're messy. I hope it's not just me. But in real life, something's out, I didn't call you, and something bad happens, and now I'm calling you. Is this retrievable? Is this fixable?
It's not a complete denial of coverage, but you should at very least at that point, make sure that you have the loan agreement to share with the insurance carrier. The other point to that, though, is that if you have a broker that knows you It knows that you have work. One of the questions that they're going to ask you when initiating the policy is, do you plan to loan any of your pieces out? Once you say yes, they're going to let you know that I need a call whenever you're, and I think that's going to bring it top of mind to you. They're going to say to you specifically, I'm going to need you to give me a call when you're sending the pieces out so that we know where they are and that the carrier is aware so they can be covered properly. I think just letting you know that will keep it at top of mind. But if you tend to forget, make sure you have that loan agreement because that's going to help in the instance of a claim.
When are they paying me out?
So,
What are they paying me out versus when are they telling me, oh, this is fixable? Because I've heard of this, like our insurance companies say, oh, it's reparable, and then you got to send it to some conservationist, which they'll do their best to fix the rip or, you know, paint over the crayon mark that your kid made or whatever.
right.
So how is that determination made?
It's made just like in other property insurance situations. So it's really going to be based on how much that repair costs versus the worth of the work itself. So if that restoration or repair way exceeds the cost of the art itself, then you're going to just receive a check to replace the art, and you're going to return whatever is left of the work to the insurance carrier. You have to give it up. You have to make that fair exchange. But if the restoration is well below the value, then the insurance company will choose to have that restored.
Okay, so now this is a question, and if you have car insurance and you've ever had even like a fender bender or just like a scrape, you may have experienced this with your car. So, of course it's not totaled. It got scraped in the parking lot at the Target. But then you get the repair, and the repair is like, and nobody likes that.
Yeah.
But that's just a car. If I'm talking about a work of art, an original, like an original Martryce Roach, this is a one-of-a-kind thing, and it was damaged, and now I gotta have somebody fix it,
Well, you're going to want
and I'm not gonna like the fix.
You're going to want to use a certified conservationist or restorator. You're not going to just use any person who says that they can fix a piece of art. Again, it's back to, you know, the credentialing of the person or the company that you use to get this done. So you want to use somebody that's recognized and certified and doing this type of work.
What do you want to take us out with? What have I forgotten to ask that's so important that we absolutely cannot leave here without knowing it?
So every policy isn't going to be a comprehensive art policy. There's a lot of policies out there, but you want to sit down with a broker and just make sure that all the things that you are concerned about will be covered in your policy. Everybody has different concerns and different things that they're concerned about. So it's up to you to meet those concerns up front. Let the carrier or broker know what it is that you need and what you plan to do with your work so that you're covered properly. But all insurance policies are not the same. They are not. Your homeowners and art policies, all included, they all vary. So you just want to sit down and talk and go through it a little bit because these are precious items to you, possibly things that you will leave to your heirs. So you want to make sure that they're covered properly and that you have the right carrier that understands what you have there and can cover you the right way.
Okay. So this is not for Jake from State Farm.
This is not.
But he's cute. I like
He
it.
can do stuff.
But this is not his thing. Call your broker. Even better, call Marvel Agency because, you know, they'll be able to address your specific concerns and you're gonna sleep a lot better, knowing that your stuff is covered.
And it's always free to talk to an agent, not just me, but any agent. It's free to get the advice. It's free to find out what's available to you. So take the minute, talk with some people who know, and get your stuff covered correctly.
Awesome. I love it. So, Crystal, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you for having me.
This is what we're doing. So, Crystal is actually my first guest. Yay. But yeah, like, subscribe, share, because this is the information. It's important. This is an audience reach out because I am struggling to find a black person who's an authority on conservation. And if you know somebody, put it in the comments. I'll reach out to him. We are again coming from Ubuntu Gallery in the Germantown Arts District of Philadelphia. The artist, photographer, and proprietor is Stephen C.W. Taylor. This piece is called Subway Surfer. Beautiful work. Everybody loves it. Thank you again, Stephen, for allowing us to film here. Stephen's link to the Ubuntu Gallery will be in the description. There will be a link for the Marble Agency in the description. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here, and we'll talk to you again soon.